Hello, everyone. I'm Joseph Skoda, past District 33 Director. See my shirt? District 33 Director. And being a director and leadership in Toastmasters opened up so many doors and opportunities for me. And I really enjoyed the journey. And even though I'm a past of leader, I'm still a leader, just a past district director, still a lot going on in my mind. And what's really happening, what I love the most is the people I meet. And today I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine that not only I met a couple years ago, but actually we're in the same club, Lompoc Valley Flowers. So anyways, please help me welcome Maria Clark. Hi, Maria.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Joseph. It's lovely to be with you this morning.
I know well yesterday, for instance, let's just talk about Lompoc Valley of Flowers. I know you belong to that club. How long have you been a member of that club?
I have been a member of the Lompoc Valley of Flowers Club for 10 years. I joined in January 2013, and I have been there and doing all I can and more throughout the years, of course. That's why I'm still a member there, because there is always so much to do and so much fun to have.
Oh, it is. In fact, I think you've been a member maybe 4 or 5 years, much longer than me because I just hit 10 years myself. And we may have stayed in for different reasons, but tell us a little about your background, where you're from, what brought you, where you're living now, and what brought you on your journey in Toastmasters.
So I have come from Italy originally. I'm Italian. I came here at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. And here I constructed a lifetime of, if I may say, successes, having 3 children and being married to my husband for 49 years now.
Oh.
However, I needed to deliver a eulogy one day and did not know how to go about it. And there is where I got interested in joining Toastmasters International, because I was told via other friends that they teach all kind of things, and they have large amount of schooling and classes where people can learn many different approaches to speaking in public. And there, at the time, I found the help I needed. I was advised at the time to look at Margaret Thatcher's speech for Ronald Reagan's funeral. That speech was highly inspirational to me. And I learned how to deliver a eulogy. And I was so satisfied about it that I decided to stay in the club and to see what else I could learn.
That's a good point. Over the years, I've had to give eulogies and roast and toast and presentations, and often on the spot with little or no preparation whatsoever. And that's still a challenge for me. Actually, the hardest challenge for me is giving a roast. Now, roast, you have to write it down and be kind someone. I've been roasted a few times, and thankfully it went well. But that's one of the challenges I have, and I'm afraid to do. I can toast you with a glass of anything any day or with a gavel. And you know, I like to carry my big gavel around. Well, what are some of the challenges that maybe you still have speaking?
Oh, well, one thing I didn't know was that I was suffering from glossophobia. This is a dysfunction that I learned while in the club. And I didn't know that many people throughout the world actually have the same challenge, speaking in public. So when I went to Toastmasters, I realized that, of course, they could help me get rid of or mitigate glossophobia by speaking in public as much as I could or have the chance of. And therefore, I did it. I took up the challenge for myself and what the club gave me, and continued with speeches after speeches. And a little bit of the time, taking away that fear of being in front of a group, speaking and delivering a message in an eloquent, consistent, logical way without having too much of a fear. And the fear, in my case, came from being bilingual or trilingual, if you would, and being in front of a club or a group of people, hoping they would not hear my heavy Italian accent, which probably is something that probably they enjoyed or entertained them even more. But for me, I was always self-conscious about that factor. However, throughout the years, I came to be a lot more relaxed, let's say, while in front of a group.
Sure, that happens when over time. Some of it just like that. We get it and we're comfortable. Others take, well, years sometimes, but we're a little more confident. Even when we're uncomfortable, we have a little more self-confidence to be uncomfortable. Now you talk about how shy you are at speaking, but I've heard you compete. And you talk about how eloquent of a speaker you are, and you are. I remember back in the day you had some suspenders on you and this belly hanging out and a thick accent. Tell us a little bit about how much fun that was playing your uncle.
Yes, this is probably one of the funniest time I had while in the club, because I was supported and convinced to compete, something I thought never I was able to do. But I did it. I went and trusted those who said I could. And indeed, in the end, I done a good job. I won. And it brought me to a place within myself where there was a lot more to open up and discover. In light of winning at Toastmasters, I decided to write a children's book. And this directly came from that experience. I didn't know I could express myself not only eloquently speaking to people, but even in a written form. And if I had never competed or won at Toastmasters International, that idea would have never surfaced. I feel pretty certain. Therefore, when I look back and I see the result of trusting what the Toastmasters is teaching us and making us feel while we are in front of a group, is really something that paid largely for me, and greatly I'm very delighted when I think about it.
You know, that's pretty exciting. And it's amazing how many Toastmasters I met over the years who, well, authors who have written books, who've even been in movies. What's interesting about your book, and I've seen both of them, one in English and one in Italian.
Yeah.
Was that a challenge doing the translation? Obviously, you're trilingual, but was that a different kind of challenge?
It was, but highly rewarding, because I knew I had two audiences. One in Italy, where I have a large family and I go and visit when possible. And one here, my immediate family in the United States, my children, my American relatives. Therefore, I wrote the book in two different languages because I wanted to be with both sides of the family, in terms of remembering my grandfather, who was the one who inspired me for the speech and for the book writing.
Yesterday, I remember at the meeting we had, and I was so thankful to be able to install the new officers for the upcoming year. That's always a big award for me. But I think the table topics question came up, like, tell us about graduation. And I think you mentioned a little bit that you actually graduate here in the US. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did yesterday?
Yes, in fact, it is here in the United States where I have achieved the greatest part of my life. Because I married so young, my dearest husband, Mark, 49 years ago, I was only not even 21, 20 and a half. I could not complete all my schooling and do everything a person would do in their own country. I came here to the United States. I traveled in the Air Force with Mark. And therefore, when I was settling in at Vandenberg Air Force Base here in California, I decided to go back to school and finish my schooling. And I started with finishing my high school. And from there, I did go on to college to get 2 associate's degree, one in social sciences, one in arts. And from there, then I went on to get a bachelor degree in psychology because that was and still is one of my favorite subjects. How is the heart and the mind work together in synchrony? So it was a challenge. It was a struggle at times because I started without knowing anything about English. And I had to perform just like everyone else who was born and went to school here. Sure. In light of which I feel totally happy and satisfied and very proud of my achievements in this country and with the language and now the speaking, which is becoming easier and easier. I'm finding, I'm very happy about that.
It does become easier and easier over time. Actually, a big success is just being married 49 years anyways. And I too retired out of Vandenberg Air Force Base and was stationed there. And my career sent me all around the world and a whole different set of challenges. And like you, I didn't discover Toastmasters till years after I retired. And it wasn't too long ago in a club in England, actually, there's this woman and she was giving a speech and told us about how she started her Toastmasters career at the age of 80. At the age of 80. And she said, I'm just pushing 14 years now to Toastmaster. Oh. 80 plus 14 is 94. Wow. And it's amazing why people get involved in different aspects of their life. So if someone's up and coming, maybe senior, not necessarily a college kid and wants, I don't know, not necessarily something to do, but why would they want to be involved in Toastmasters, in your opinion?
In my opinion, there has to be a desire to communicate. Sure. And to communicate with a large variety of people because we are surrounded by a large diversity, particularly here in the United States. And in order to be effective with most people and most of the times, we need to develop the ability to utter our thoughts, our needs, in a way where we are actually understood and accepted. Therefore, there isn't never enough learning, never enough ability to do it better, to be more effective for ourselves in terms of when we apply it in the place of work, or even between friends or among family members. There is always a better way to say it. And speaking, making all the errors, making all of the evaluations, making all of the mistakes again that we do while we are in the club, it does help to promote ourselves in these terms over time. And therefore, I would suggest every young man and woman to start doing it because you'll see the difference after a while. And for those like me who has been retired now from work, and so is my husband and most people that I know and I frequent, it still is interesting to listen to someone say something of interest, something based in history or personal history or of any other subject. It is interesting still. It is stimulating. It is social. It is fun, just like we had last night.
Like we had last night. I know, Lompoc Valley of Flowers, or LVOF, as you like to be called, has something special. Just a little bit about some of the relationships you have in the club, and quite frankly, when you meet and how people can get involved in your club in Division D, District 33, Lompoc Valley Flowers.
Lompoc Valley of Flowers has been around for quite a long time. I would say since 1986, approximately. And it has been a successful club, as you can tell by the years that it is in vigor. So we at the club help each other. And this is why we are still going and succeeding, because we take turns in doing what's necessary as serving as an officer, because the officers in the club are very vital and very necessary to make the club function, to keep protocol and to arrange and organize meetings and so on. We, the club here in Lompoc, meet on Zoom every other week, and once every other week again, we meet at the local Lutheran church. You can find our information online, and you are welcome to come. The club is open to everyone, every age, after 18, and we are here to help you with all the needs that you have in terms of speaking, communicating better.
Sure, and I appreciate that. And hey, you welcome me, which is a good thing. And I know you meet on Thursdays, 5:30 to 7, I believe. It's really exciting.
Yes.
So anyway, just any last minute comments for our guests to find out more about you, the club, or to be involved in their own Toastmasters journey.
If you want to belong to a club where you can not only learn but to develop friendships, long-term friendships, then you should try Lompoc Valley of Flowers, because some of the members there have been there for decades. And therefore, there is something to be said about those people that support and create and keep going forward the club itself. We offer potlucks sometimes. We offer cake and ice cream. We
That was
do,
last night.
like last night, we have fun in remembering old times, telling stories about our childhood. We do leave a lot of open field for anyone who wants to express themselves in terms that they need to. And throughout the years, I've seen a variety of ages, from very, very young, just out of high school, to maybe in their 80s. And everyone has something to offer. Everyone has something to bring to the floor. And everyone can become a member of the Lompoc Valley of Flowers. Just come and see about us, and then we'll go from there.
I couldn't agree more. And I know you're near the Vandenberg Air Force Base. We got some military coming in and out. And what's unique is even those who have left, went to Colorado, retired, moved to Alaska, whatever it could be, there's still a relationship and still some contact with some of those people. And that's what your club does very, very strong, is develop strong relationships. And I believe because you guys support each other outside the club, you support each other in different events. You support each other at birthday parties and even for the children. And that's something a lot of clubs don't do. It's what you do outside the club that brings success in the club, in my opinion.
Yes, in fact, it's so true. We often, after the meeting, go out to dinner together.
Oh, yeah.
We have many times. And overall, it is the openness that the club offers to each other and also to the newcomers. We are not only there to help one another, but we are there to be there at the next week. It's you can count on us. Occasionally, we are going away on vacation and so on and so forth, but there is always somebody who steps up, steps in, and is there for you. If you need to give a speech at a wedding, if you are having wanting a promotion at work, we like to help you with the speeches that you do at work so that your boss can actually take a look at you again and see what betterments you have developed while in the club and so on and so forth. We are there for those who need to address others, whether it is in the church, for example. I can say an example of myself where I needed to read in my church the scriptures on Sunday in front of 500-600 people. It is a very large church. And how did I learn to do that? By attending Lompoc Valley of Flowers Toastmasters Club. I exercised all my fears while on that floor. And what do you know? At the end of my very tentative speech and my after all the knocking of my knees, I was always applauded and supported and told what to do better next time and try it again. Therefore, I know it works. I read in church in front of people over and over and over again for a couple of years, and without feeling the fear that was plaguing me and keeping me away from doing it. Therefore, I know Toastmasters did help me.
Maria, I couldn't agree more. I've learned so much and different sides of confidence I've never had before. Well, with all that being said, we appreciate you, and I know I'm going to see you compete again in the near future. You still have a good speech out there too, and I'm looking forward to that. So thank you once again, Maria. I hope everyone else can see that you don't necessarily come from here, but you've developed, you've grown, and you've mentored others. So thank you once again. Anyways, with all that being said, anyone else have a story to tell us in our District 33, what some of your journey, what's happened, the good, the bad, even the ugly? We'd love to hear about it. So feel free to reach out to me, Joseph Skoda, or Maria. We can help you. With that being said, for now, have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.